In this video, we talk about getting into collecting comic books from scratch with my man, Marvel, who is going to be our example for today.
Get your books up.
Hello YouTube, Axie-Man here once again, coming at you from the great state of California. I'm actually visiting and I could not pass up an opportunity to interview one of my best friends, practically my brother, Mr. Marvel Mike. He goes by Marvel. We all have our nicknames. And I'm doing this video from my brother's apartment in the city of Long Beach. If you guys know who Snoop Dogg is, then you should know what Long Beach is. That's where he comes from. So the topic of the video is going to be about getting into collecting from scratch. Technically, he started collecting as of San Diego Comic-Con 2024. That's when he put a budget together, made a list of books that he wanted to buy, and then after he started checking them off, he just kind of went insane, like all of us do when we get into single issue collecting comics, and he just lost his mind. And his wallet it hates him right now. His finances, his banker hates him, everyone hates him. But we're gonna get into the whole collecting. I'm gonna ask him a series of questions, and we want to find out what his experience was as a new collector getting into a hobby of single issue collecting comics, going from buying random books to having a focus and picking books out and watching how your collection rises, and as it does, you start buying higher value books, right? Grails, as we call them. So we're gonna get into that part in this video. Well, let's get into it. So I'm here with the dude, the legend, Marvel Mike. He goes by Marvel, not because of Marvel Comics, but that's his superhero name, persona. His superpower that I've assigned to him is flight. He hates it. Okay, that's not what we're doing in this video, but if I've never mentioned it before, my superpower is telekinesis. So I'm because I love me some Jean Grey, I love me some Phoenix, and that's always been her power. But his power is flight. Anyways, let's get into the real reason for this video.
I fly, nigga.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna edit that out. His collection grew, as I mentioned, starting at San Diego Comic-Con, but he had already been collecting books, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So I had a really small collection from when I was a kid, and then San Diego Comic-Con is when I decided to be more serious about it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so
Calculated. That
is one of the main topics of this conversation. One of the discussions that we had was that this happens a lot in collecting. When you start reading comic books and when you start buying single issue comics, you sometimes don't have a focus, and that's okay per se, but when you start getting serious and you want to start buying some of these higher end books, you realize, like, why am I buying all these things? Why am I buying Marvel and DC and Dark Horse? I mean, they're all great books, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you start realizing that you do want to have a focus because you do want to be a little bit more specific in how you buy for that reason right there, because the hobby can get very expensive.
Yes.
So one of the conversations that we had was about picking whether it's an artist, a title, a publisher, a character, have a little bit of a focus to it. So the first part of this video is, how do we focus? Okay, so he's gonna tell us like the conversation that we had and how he got into single issue collecting comics, specifically starting at San Diego Comic-Con, but right before that too, right? Because that was the day that you ready, set, go.
Right.
But it took weeks of planning.
Right.
So how did that go? How did you start off?
So I've always been a spider whore. Spiderman, that's just my guy. Since I was a little kid, I had just some random issues. I would say Maximum Carnage #1 was probably like my biggest key that I had. But, deciding to get more focused about or more calculated with my collection, Key Collector comic app, that's the greatest way you can catalog your books, gives you wish lists. So when you're at
Yes.
comic book shops, you can see which books you don't buy duplicates, because trust me, that does happen. And then just when you're in random cities, I would download it, or no, actually I just go on an app called a comic shop locator, and you just type in the zip code and just random comic book shops. I've been Long Beach, Anaheim, just all over Southern California when I'm in random cities and just checking out comic book shops, and that's really expanded my collection big time too.
See, I've never used the locator one, but I do know about Key Collector, the Key Collector comic app. If you've never seen it, known what it is, it's not just an app, it's also a website, Key Collector Comics. Go to keycollectorcomics.com. A guy that I follow all the time, Comic Tom 101. He does the top 10. I'll put a link in the video to his channel, and I'll also put a link to the Key Collector Comic. He's always promoting it. That's how I found out about it. So when he asked me about getting into collecting comics, that was one of the things I said, is I'll download this app. It's $20 an annual fee. $20 for the whole year is not bad at all, ladies and gents. And as he mentioned, it helps you catalog. The worst thing you want to do is spend another $100 and then get to your boxes and then find out like, oh man, I already had it, because that $100 could have gone to something else. And sometimes it's even worse. Sometimes it's more money than that. So there's nothing worse than just spending money like that. It's not like it's a bad thing having 2 issues of ASM 300 or anything, but
yeah, your bank account would differ.
Well, and then that's a whole other topic of conversation about grading, and if you want to get a 7.5 to a 9.0, then of course you're gonna have 2 copies, or you just make an exchange. But that's a whole other conversation.
Just get the book. Just get the book.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask my friend here a series of questions and let him answer, because I do have those tailored already. So let's get into that part. So question number 1, you kind of already mentioned it, but what character did you want to get into, or how did you narrow down what you were going to collect when you said you were about to get ready to be serious about it?
That's a great question. So, like I said, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but my favorite Spider-Man artist was Todd McFarlane.
The Todd Father.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go in and collect all the Spider-Man books. First, I wanted the Amazing Spider-Man books.
ASM run.
The ASM run, and
expensive run.
Yeah, well, 298 to 301, I want to say the most expensive. 316 can be pretty expensive too, but the middle books, are not too crazy, but it just, from there, with the Key Collector Comics app, then I look, because you can actually search by artist, and I see, I'm like, man, he's done so many other Spider-Man books. So from there, just kind of morphed into, I'm getting every single Todd McFarlane Spider-Man book. And then it also kind of morphed in there, like, I'm gonna sprinkle in some X-Men, some Spawn, because those are some of my other favorite characters too. So I'm kind of trying to dabble in my collection in other facets as well, but that's kind of the interim. Okay.
Yeah. So one key factor of this whole thing is you either focus on try not to make it too broad. I'm only going to collect Marvel. Ladies and gentlemen, there's too many titles. Go ahead, be my guest. It's your money. It's not mine. But trust me when I say this, that having a more narrow focus. So he already mentioned 2 big ones. It's character. He went with Spider-Man, and then he narrowed it down further and went with Todd McFarlane Spider-Man. Spider-Man has had many great artists, from John Romita Jr. and Sr. To Bagley, to, I mean, the list goes on. I don't have to list them here. So narrowing it down further and not just saying, I'm going to collect the entire ASM run. Well, okay, but so he went with Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man for beginners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are actually going to look into his collection. He did bring the bulk of it, and we're gonna do a nice little recording so you guys can see exactly what he's talking about, right? Because we can flap our gums all day long, but we all know that you want to see the actual comics, and we are gonna get into that. So another question. we had many conversations. The guy kept apologizing to me, saying like, "I'm so sorry, I keep asking you these things." But I'm like, "What are you talking about? Don't threaten me with the good time." I go, "Like you're calling me talking about comics, of course. You know, like to call me like 24/7. You know, and unless I'm doing something in the bedroom. But okay. So he would call me all the time and asked me questions, and he started taking notes. Hence the Key Collector comic app story we've already told, and it was all a buildup. It was all a buildup because he said he was going to start collecting at San Diego Comic-Con. Side note, I did warn him about going to a con compared to going to a comic book store. There's a big difference. Sometimes you get better deals. Sometimes, yeah, it flip-flops. It just depends. So I said, just so you know, and he goes, I'm still going to start at the con. I'm like, awesome. So it's your first time having a badge, right?
Yeah. First ever San Diego Comic-Con, getting in the actual con too.
Yeah, because you'd been just like me without a badge, but there's nothing like actually going into the convention. So his first time having a badge to San Diego Comic-Con was also the first time he was going to go and make his wallet go from that to this. And that brings me to my next question. What was the budget, and what did you tell yourself? Which books did you put on that list?
So I told myself I was gonna budget about 1,000,
which is not bad.
But my number one, it was an ASM 300. So first appearance of Venom, that was my number one. I had to get that book.
ASM 300.
And then there was a couple other ones. First appearance of Carnage, I wanted to get ASM 361.
Yeah, great book.
The self-titled Spiderman, Todd McFarlane run the first one of that. So I actually was able to.
So the video cut, my battery died. This is the first time I'm actually using this camera. So I'm going to splice it however this worked out. But he got cut off right in the middle of responding. And because I haven't figured out all the widgets and the things and the Google gadgets and the stuff, I didn't know how to check where we left off. So we were somewhere in the vicinity of how he budgeted for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So you came up with $1,000.
$1,000 budget.
$1,000 budget, which I did say earlier in the video, and I don't know yet how I'm going to edit that, but if I edit that part out, I did mention that $1,000 is not that bad. Balla, right? A lot of people in this video, they're like, oh, okay, $1,000, sure. And then other people are like, 1,000, that's it? But $1,000 nonetheless. And he was gonna go for an ASM 300. That was the first book.
Number one.
He was gonna go for 298 through 301. And tell us how that went on the floor. On the Comic-Con floor.
Everything's different once you're on the floor. Matter of fact, the first booth we went to, there was a Todd McFarlane self-titled Spider-Man #1 issue signed by Todd McFarlane, and this guy's like, you have to get that book. So,
and we're gonna look at it later in the video. I'll see it.
So things kind of adjust, but I did get it. I got it for a wonderful price, but in my mind, majority of my budget was gonna go to ASM 300. So after I bought that book, I'm like, okay, I don't want to go and just blow my load because I know it'll be just really easy to. So I went to a couple of booths, priced out a couple different the prices for a couple different booths, how much they're charging for ASM 300, and I kind of went from there as far as like what grade of the book I was willing to pay for as far as the price went. So I kind of settled on a little bit lower of a grade, which a little bit lower of a price, so I could squeeze in more of the other books that I went to. But I actually just got it cleaned and pressed at WonderCon, and it looks like it was an 8.5. Yeah, so saving a little bit of money, you can spend $15, get it cleaned and pressed, and it will look like the books that were going for $200 more. So there's little tricks in the trade I've actually learned in my search. You don't always have to go for the highest price book. You can look for a lesser version of that book, pay a little bit extra money, get it cleaned and pressed, and next thing you know, your book looks just like the one that you just pass on for $300 more.
So see, that, ladies and gents, is a great point. Sometimes owning the book is owning the book no matter what the grade is. Yep. Sure, there's that aspect of it. But there's also grading, right? So getting into the hobby, right? It's also about at what level do you want to buy the book? What's more important, owning the book or owning the grade, right? If you go for a 9.0, 9.8, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. But if you go for a lower grade, you can, exactly what he just described. And more to that point, there's also this, graded versus non-graded. Sometimes it's cheaper just buying it raw, as we call it, as opposed to getting it already encased in the grade. Sometimes the whole point is to go into that world of learning how to grade your books, cleaning, pressing. So there's also something to be said about going through that journey. There's a lot of videos out there that'll teach you about that, and maybe I will delve into those waters, but for now, that is his experience. Walking in there and figuring this out. Sometimes you just have to walk the walk.
You do, 100%.
That's it. Like we can wax intellectually about it all day long, and there's tons of YouTubers that have already talked about these topics. But sometimes doing it and just walking the floor, quite literally, there's a journey there, and there's an experience that you cannot get from just watching videos. I mean, I can learn how to swim by watching videos, but if I don't jump in the water, I mean, that doesn't mean that I can swim.
You ain't never gonna be Michael Phelps.
Exactly. So there it is. So as you can clearly see from this splice into the next segment, we stopped putting our drinks in the back and we're holding them now. We're so cool.
Comic book bullshit.
Yes. My brother treated us to some 8-year-old scotch, which tastes very wine-ish.
It's pretty smooth.
I know, it's going to turn me into wangolango. But okay, so as we were talking about being at the con, doing that, and the last question I'm really going to ask, because this is his experience, not mine. Once you popped your cherry and you bought ASM 300 and you bought the books that you did that we're going to take a look at at the con, at your first con, one of the things that I warned him about was this. And I have seen videos of people that have covered this, but not many. Collecting is like anything else. It's like any other vice almost. It's a great hobby, don't get me wrong, but it's like anything else. There's gambling addictions, there's drinking addictions, there's all kinds of addictions. This can be very addicting.
Yeah.
But in the best way possible. It's comic books, people, you know, it's not exactly like we're out there doing like craziness, but yeah, but it can be very addicting. So there's YouTubers out there that say collect responsibly, you know, because sometimes you kind of do. Do I want to buy this book? Am I willing to eat ramen noodles for the next 2 weeks until my next paycheck?
Yes.
Why not? Sure, why not? See, collect responsibly, right?
Full of vitamins. And
make good choices. So the one thing that I did want to cover is how bad did your addictiveness go once you went?
Oh man, damn, this is on camera, so I have to admit this. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I started buying books on eBay, as far as
And the phone calls became more frequent, by the way.
Like different filler issues that I needed, but they were still key issues of this really obscure books. Because if you go to these comic book shops, you're not gonna find older books. They have a lot of modern books. So it's the comic shops you find that have books in the 90s, 80s. Those are few and far between. So I started going on eBay. I was going to Frankensons.
eBay is a whole other monster.
Yeah, Frankensons is like a comic book or like collectible swap meet, I guess you could say.
It's like a nonstop Comic Con.
Yeah, so I was going there like every other weekend, like all the comic book guys there, like they all knew me. Like as soon as I walked in, like, hey, what's up?
I would get text messages from the guy going like, I'm having a panic attack, should I buy this? Please pick up.
Yeah, on Saturday. It's like,
I'm like,
hey, come on, man.
dude, I'm not even awake yet.
Yeah, it did get pretty bad. I had to really set monthly budgets. Like, okay, I'm willing to spend this much this month.
It happens.
So it did happen pretty.
Yeah, so it can get a little intense, and it's because there's also a certain thing with collectors that we need it now, and the gaps in our collection drive us crazy. So it's like, so we need to fill the gaps, and we need to already have it. It's like, oh my, how can you have $298, $299? and 301 and not the 300.
You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, you're like, oh,
Plus, when you go into a comic book shop and you look at the wall books,
Yeah.
and you see that wall book there, that Hulk 340, and you don't buy it, there's no way that you're gonna get it when you come back. It's impossible. So I've also learned that too, the hard way. Oh, I'll get it when I come back. No way, it wasn't there when I went back. So you also got to be ready to just spontaneously say, hey, if there's a wall book there that it's one that I'm looking for, okay, I'm willing to just throw 200 down, So you got to be spontaneous too, a little bit.
And sometimes you have to take the deal while it's there.
Yeah, 100%.
And that, we're all guilty of it, where they make you an offer because the seller's they're trying to sell it. They're trying to get it off their walls, right? And they'll give you a great deal. So that's why, well, I know if I wait, or maybe this will come up again. We don't know. That's the point.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is going for 200, but if you want to buy it now, I'll give it to you for 140, $60 off. So it's like examples like that of why you pull the trigger on some of these key issues, some of these higher end comics, because you're getting a great deal. And therein lies. Now we're full circle here. This is why it can get so addictive. But enough with the talk. Let's take a look at his collection and let's flip through one.
Let's dive in.
Mwah. So what I've asked him to do in this segment is pick out his favorite key issue comics from each box. We went with 5. You guys saw the videos. You guys clearly you can pause it and you can fast forward, rewind, and see which books he has there. So what we're doing here is showing his top 5 favorite from each box. So let's start with
Spawn 77, Greg Capullo and Todd McFarlane. Also this is my depiction of a guardian angel, hence my tattoo as well. So it's one of my favorites, definitely.
Dedication.
Frank Miller, I got this from a Long Beach shop that just had just a little barrel or a little bin of Frank Miller books that were all underpriced. So this is like one of my like best finds. I think there's like a $50, $60 book. I got it for like $5. So this is an amazing book. First appearance of Gambit.
266,
X-Men
baby.
run, yep. Word to my boy Sight Bike at Frank and Sons. This is one of my favorite X-Men characters, so this is a huge find for me.
Forgot you bought that there.
First appearance, solo cover appearance of Wolverine. This was another like just digging in the crates find. This book, I found this for $75. This is easily newsstand a $150, $200 book. Another
First Berserker.
Yes,
Rage.
First Berserker. This is another amazing
Wolverines.
find. And then one of my crown jewels, probably one of the most popular Todd McFarlane covers of all time, also debuted in the Deadpool Wolverine movie. So you know
Yes, it did.
it's very legit. This was another one I just walked into a Fullerton comic book shop and it was on the wall and it was just such an amazing price. I had to get it. So
It's a must.
Yeah, the one time I saw it on the wall, the first time was the only time, and I got it.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
All right, so next up is the next box.
Hence the theme, the Todd McFarlane. This is one of his obscure lines of Spider-Man that he did. A lot of people don't even know this line he did called Marvel Tales. He did about, I want to say, 15 to 20 books he did. This is one of the top books he did. Juggernaut cover, newsstand, amazing book. Another Todd McFarlane. This is one that we talked about that my buddy right here, Anthony, told me to make sure I cop signed by Todd McFarlane. Spider-Man 1 of
Get that signature.
Todd McFarlane's
Camera.
illustrated and written. He also wrote these books as well. These are Todd McFarlane Spider-Man books, so pretty dope right there. This along with this one, I'll actually show them in conjunction. These are kind of split for the first ever appearances of the black suit. This is pretty much universally recognized as the top one, but this one also
You're getting the nerds riled up with that statement.
This one also.
There's too many first appearances of that damn black suit.
It's so close, but Secret Wars number 8 is definitely right there. But if you're a black suit collector or Spider-Man, you should have them both. This is my top book ever. Housewarming gift with my best friend right here. Spider-Man issue 50, signed by the man himself, Excelsior, Stan Lee, J. Scott Campbell. Just amazing. You know, so yeah, definitely one of my absolute tippy tops.
And who gave you that again?
Mr. Axiomant Comics. Let's
Shameless plug.
Woo!
And last but definitely not least, his favorite box actually.
Yes.
'Cause these contain his big Spider-Man keys so far.
Yes, this is my Amazing Spider-Man box. So everything in here is just Amazing Spider-Man run. This is the first solo cover of Venom, ASM 316, Todd McFarlane. One of my favorite books. The Todd McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man run is just epic. And this is one of his most iconic villains in his first cover appearance. So this is just,
You gotta love the blues on that.
The symbiotes though, the symbiotes never stop. Carnage is him. If you're a Spider-Man fan, Carnage you have to love Carnage. Mark Bagley.
You're biased on that one though.
This is a little
Because
bit.
your maximum carnage thing.
Newsstand. This is probably this might be a 9.6 or a 9.8 book. This book's immaculate. So
Mark Bagley's the man.
Yes, I love this book. ASM 300, doesn't really need to go over this one too much. We talked about this one. This is first appearance of Venom. This is just such an iconic book, the most duplicated cover of all time.
A must have.
Yes.
And if you can get it in a newsstand,
yes,
even better.
Yes, absolutely amazing book. This is the first appearance of the black suit in the Amazing Spider-Man run, ASM 252.
You just contradicted what you said earlier, buddy.
Well, no, the first appearance of the black suit in general in the Amazing Spider-Man run. Right. This is number 1. This is when he first, and this is a newsstand copy. This book is creme de la creme. pristine condition. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. And this is actually one of the newest to my collection. I just got this at WonderCon. I was calling this guy when I was at the booth to asking him if he thought it was an amazing deal. And he's like, you need to buy that right now. Death of Green Goblin, ASM 122. If you are a Spider-Man fan, you definitely have to have this in your collection. It's a little pricey, but it's just such an iconic book.
Yeah, but where's 121, man?
She's coming.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. Because everyone that knows that he needs the 121 to pair it up.
We do.
It's like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, and that one's coming. I actually had that on my San Diego Comic-Con list, so stay tuned.
We're gonna watch it as he buys it live in the San Diego Comic-Con walkthrough video.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This right here is Marvel Mike signing out for this video. Collect what you love. Love what you collect. Outro.